Greetings to one and all. Greetings, everybody. My name is Basimane Bohopane. Welcome to Bohosi Kupe channel. Please do subscribe to our channel so that you can get notifications each time that we post a video on our YouTube channel. That way I don't have to always post on social media for you to be able to get notices. All right. So the subject of our discussion today is Batswana, mythological ties to ancient Egypt, identity and origins, part 1. So we continuing this journey of speaking about Batswana and revealing their mysteries or hidden secrets that have perhaps up until now have not been completely or thoroughly explored or even explained. So this is my purpose, and this is the purpose of Bohosi Kupe channel, to expound and explain and explore and even do more digging into our history as a people. Now, who are the Batswana? Batswana comprise of various groups spread throughout various parts of the continent of Africa. Some say that we have people as far as the Sudan. That remains to be verified myself because I don't have that information, but the people that I have spoken to are credible. So, but I need to verify, such things for myself. But we comprise of in Southern Africa, we comprise of Basotho, Bapedi in the north, and Barotse or Lozi, as some people call them. They are found in Namibia. Batswana also found in Namibia, so Balozi. In Botswana, the country, which most people in the West, especially in the US, my experience is that when you tell them, your nationality, they immediately think of the country Botswana because they always associate Batswana, or there's some Batswana. For them it sounds like Batswana, the country, because the O and the A are pronounced kind of similar, so that creates confusion at times for them. But they don't know that the people themselves are found both within the country Botswana and outside of that, and in South Africa and in other areas outside of those two countries. Okay, with that said, let's get into it now that we know who the people are. Okay, what is mythology? All right, many people, when they think of mythology, they think of this first definition: an idea or a story that is believed by many people, but that is not true. Okay, but the second and third definition is not what most people know. A traditional story which embodies a belief regarding some fact or phenomenon or of experience, and in which often the forces of nature and the soul are personified. A sacred narrative regarding a god, a hero, the origin of the world, or a people. So this is what I'm going to discuss. Second and third definition. Okay. Now, although Botswana have their own mythology regarding their origins, as shall be seen, none have been analyzed by historians, scholars, or Batswana themselves. Here, since the knowledge of the deeper meaning regarding the same has diminished or been muddled through the passage of time, despite the mythos being known, even Shapira and Sitilwane and others Their theoretic explanations are bereft of lucid benefit, to wit, they have postulated. The Batswana originate from Sotho-Tswana branch of the Bantu family of people. This is Sitilwani, 1976, page 1213, Brown, 1925, page 19. This branch consists of the Batswana, the southern Sotho of Basotho land, presently Lesotho, and northern and eastern of Transvaal Sotho, Shapiro, 1984. The origin of the Sotho group, which the Batswana descended from, is not known definitely, but they are thought to have separated from the main body of Bantu peoples in the vicinity of the Great Lakes of East Africa and entered South Africa through the western portions of southern Rhodesia, presently Zimbabwe, in 3 series of migrations. The first migration was by the present-day Bakhalagadi, whom are known properly as Bangologa, who settled in eastern parts of Botswana and intermingled with the pre-existing Basarwa, who are properly known as Kwe. And the second migration consisted of the ancestors of the present-day Barolong and Batlaping, who settled along the Molopo River and progressively spread south and west. This group absorbed some of the Basarwa and Bakhalagadi who had preceded them. The third and largest group to migrate consisted of the ancestors of all the Sotho-Tswana tribes. Its Tswana section settled in the southwestern portions of modern Transvaal, which is now called Limpopo, in Mpumalanga regions, and then broke up rapidly into separate clusters, the most important of which were Hurutsi, Kwena, and Khatla. Okay, now I'm aware that before the term Bantu was even applied to to make distinctions between groups, all the groups, including the Nguni, or so-called Nguni people, all were referred to as Batswana before the term Bantu was used. Okay, simply because historians found that the languages that were spoken from the Cape to Central Africa, right? One could actually speak those languages with greater ease by just learning Setswana. Okay. All right. Unfortunately, these theories only serve to align themselves with the colonial narrative that Bantu people came from Cameroon. This is what these theories that are postulated by Shapira and the like, right? So that Bantu people came from Cameroon, migrated south, and displaced the original inhabitants of what is now known as Botswana, Lesotho, Eswatini, Namibia, South Africa, and Zimbabwe, to name a few. This is false, right? I would argue contrarily that Southern Africa is the original home of Batswana peoples since time immemorial. Some groups left the region in the ancient past while others remained. Those who had left later returned to their home after experiencing difficulties in the northern regions, even as far as Asia, Europe, and the Americas. Yes, that is the case. Our people has spread all over the globe. This is not a myth according to definition 1, but a myth according to definition 2 and 3. After all, the origin of the ancient Egyptians is Resi, which means south, which would explain the southward migration of Batu as a return to their homeland. Earlier in history, prior to the revisionists conspiring to alter history for purposes known only to themselves, the following was acknowledged. It is usually supposed that the Bantu tribes of South Africa migrated from the neighborhood of Egypt and came down along the east coast towards Zululand and Cape Colony, and then turning inland and going north again towards Batswana land and Matabele land, the great African chiefs, by Reverend Edwin Lloyd. The Bafokeng came from Egypt or Ethiopia to South Africa, traversing the continent from the north to south. This is from History of the Basotho, Ancient and Modern, J.C. McGregor. From the realm of Lowe, now let's go into the mythology. There was a cave from which the original man emerged. This cave is called Lowe or Lowe, and the dweller within it was called by the same name. Lowe was also called Dawedona, big lion. That's what that term means. Lowe's footprints can be found at a place called Kopong. He lived in the cave with his dogs, and around him were beasts of the field. When he came out of the cave, he saw the animals and other created things, and many of the created things were brought into being while he was there. Authority to name them was given to him. He gave a name to all, with the exception of the snake. A myth tells of the creation of men and women, both youths in the prime of young manhood and women ripe for motherhood. The males living by themselves at a place called TINTIBANE, the originating of men, and the women by themselves in Batswana, the plain of the women. The realm of Tintibane. In another slightly different narration, Batswana also spoke of a lost paradise that they called the realm of Tintibane. Rather than Eden, according to this deeper, more indigenous Genesis story, the first man was called Matsieng. He is said to have come into this world from Tintibane's underworld through Lowe's cave, which is located near Rasesa. The cave is named after a one-sided medimo, meaning deity, who can appear in the form of a single-legged giant. The story goes that Matsieng had been living without care at Tintibanes, but was tempted by Lowe to follow the light to the surface world between the earth and sky. Banished from returning to Earth's comfort, Matsieng initially suffered from hunger. Tintibane then took pity on him, giving him wild animals to hunt and goats to domesticate. As Khosi Sibele put it in his Ditso Tsabakwena, at Lowe we were with Basotho, Bakwena of Mogopa, Bahurutsi, Bangwatu, Bapalane, Bafokeng, and all the children of Modimo, meaning the Creator. There's another much more ancient mythology which alludes to a region called Ntswana Tsazi. It will not be addressed today. This one, it holds other mysteries. The name itself, even Ntswana Tsazi, is it holds a lot of history in it. Okay, Tintibane, the sun god. Now, the setting sun in Setswana is said to wela, which word derives from wa, meaning to fall or go, right? So when we say we are going, we say wela, wela, tsila, meaning to go, right? So wa, also wa, wa guide, where you're going. So wa also means to go. So when you talk of the sun in terms of it falling, really what we're saying that it is going, and then of course it'll come back the next day. The opening below the horizon is known as kuti in Setswana. The latter is the same term for horizon in Middle Egyptian, expressed as akhet, which means horizon. With the sun nestled between the shoulders of a hill or mountain. I think this is what gave our ancestors the concept of the sun falling into a hole, and hence the depiction of the same using the N27 glyph. The name TINTIBANE is a compound comprising of TINTIBANE. Okay, let's get into it. TINTIBANE, the sun god. Sorry. All right. So TINTIBANE. All right. I'm giving a breakdown. The word bani comes from the word bani, right? Since this is a compound, right? So I'll start with bani. So TINTIBANE. Now the word bani derives from mabani. Maubani is another way we say it, or maubani, right? Which simply means yesterday. Then the term maubani itself is comprised of a preposition for past or transpired moment or time, ma, and ubani, which means sunshine, sunrise, sunlight, and noun. Okay, so so this here, TINTIBANE, alludes to a time that is in the past, all right, or the previous sunrise. Okay, to put it more properly. So, where does the word tinti derive from? Okay, we have these words in Setswana. Tinti. Tinti means resonance, wave, vibration. Okay, from that we derive the word tinta. Tinta means to oscillate, wave, vibrate. Okay, and we have the word le tanta, which means a ball or a disc in Setswana. And we have cognates in the Middle Egyptian, yident, which means a snake according to linguists, but I'm convinced that this is not just simply a snake. I think linguists are looking at the determinative itself to conclude that it simply means a snake, but here I think it's alluding to the movement of the snake, which is an oscillation type of movement, okay, or a swaying type of movement. All right, and we have ident, which means goddess, and female sun disk. Okay, which matches what? Danta, right? Which means a ball or a disc. And we have this word, these two words, khat sibiu, which mean in Setswana would write it as hote tsibio. Hote tsibio just means pulsating heat. This comes from adoration of Ra, or the hymn to Ra, from the book of Coming Forth by Day into the book of Coming Forth by Day. Hote tsibio. Okay, this is how we would say it in Setswana, which means pulsating heat. Now, TINTIBANE and AUSAR. The aforeanalyzed myth tells us that the cave of Lowe was named after a one-sided Midimu, meaning a deity who can appear in the form of a single-legged giant. The similarities between AUSAR, who is depicted with a one-legged form, and the description of TINTIBANE, the one-legged god, are striking. TINTIBANE is a god of the underworld, and so is AUSAR. We cannot possibly satiate the matter without addressing Lowe, cave, and the identity of the deity by the same name. The mythology informs us that Lowe was also called Dau Edona, meaning big lion. In this latter statement, the ancients provided a clue regarding the meaning of Lowe, thus leaving us with no doubt that it means lion or great lion. We return to Middle Egyptian again to support this conclusion by looking at the word for lion and locality. All right, so the first is Ru, or just RW as expressed in linguistics. Okay, so it means lion, lion-shaped image of king, lion-shaped image of king. And what? Sphinx. In Setswana, Lowe, we already know what it means. It means the same thing. It means great lion, but it is also a royal title, right? Its cognate is Dau Edona. And we have this, the crouching lion. Ru means just lion, and Lowe, of course, means great lion. We can also include Dau in this case. Dau, right? And this Dau, okay, I'll explain below. And next we have this one, Ru, which means locality on site, and Lowe means cave. Right. So Dauduna is a compound comprising of Dau, which means lion, and then Duna, which means great. So the T in Dau is interchangeable with the R, resulting in Rau, right, which means lion. Thus, Lowe and Dau are cognates with euphonic changes. Euphony is a prominent feature in Setswana, as noted by linguists in the past. Okay, and so we have so many words where we use like different consonants. We change between consonants so much to form, words that have the same meaning, and sometimes even create new ones that have different meaning by just using sound changes, euphony. Okay, given the aforementioned facts, we concluded that Batswana mythology regarding Lowe is a reference to the Sphinx and its caverns. Lowe is a cave and a cognate of Daudona, which means big or great lion. This conclusion is based on the fact that the Sphinx has 3 verified entrances leading to the subterranean world, and 2, it is a lion-bodied figure. Okay, where have we seen this? These are images. Now these days, the ministry that is in charge of exploration in Egypt, they're keeping this information away from the public. They will not discuss it. They will simply deny that, this is in actuality a fact. Okay, but it has been reported in various news articles. To this day, the Batswana kings bear the title of Daudona. The latter title, deriving from Lowe himself, is but one of several titles. Now, the Middle Egyptian drew lion-shaped image of King Sphinx. We already seen that it is cognate to Lowe, Great Lion, royal title, Daudun. The lion-shaped image of a king is yet another piece of evidence that connects Dauduna to ancient Egyptian royalty. In another installment, I will address one or more of these titles to show their connections to the ancient Egyptian Nesut Biti. Yes, that is a very interesting title. All right, it's actually, yes, I think this is known. These are titles for uh, the king of the north and south, but it is also, these are also separate titles in themselves, separate titles that come from different two different groups, but not necessarily different in a sense that they are separate from each other, but these are the same people using different titles for the kings. And in the future, not in this, not soon, but in the future, I will, elaborate on this to show that these things still exist amongst us. Okay. Now to conclude, Tintibane is like AUSAR, the one-legged god. Tintibane is a compound for pulsating light wave, cognate with Middle Egyptian Itent, female sun disk, and Weben or Ubani, sunshine, sunrise, sunlight. Of course, this word is found in many so-called Bantu. I don't like the term so much, but Bantu languages, you'll find various languages use that term for the sun. Right? And of course, number 3, Lowe, which means big or great lion, is the great sphinx, cognate with the Middle Egyptian Ru, lion, sphinx, cognate with Dau in Setswana, Rau. Daudona, which means Lowe, is a royal title cognate with Ru, lion-shaped image of the king, and Lowe is a locality that is a cave and is cognate with the Middle Egyptian Ru, locality or site. So Batswana have royal ties to ancient Egypt. This was the purpose of doing this, because this is a short presentation, and then more stuff needs to be done to to satiate and convince others who may not otherwise be inclined to be convinced, because they either want us to follow certain rules that have been established by others and not ourselves in actually presenting evidence. Otherwise, if you're not part of the club and not following the rules, you may not be easily accepted, even though using the Occam's razor to arrive to a conclusion using a simple approach, you cannot satisfy everyone, because other people have their own way of looking at things, and they are not satisfied until things are looked at the way that they look at them. With that said, this concludes today's presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to subscribe to my channel Bohosi Kupe on YouTube, as we bring you the story of Batswana as we tell it ourselves and not let others tell it for us.